Just this last weekend, we celebrated probably the greatest day in the history of mankind. Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Many of you probably shouted these words, "He is risen!" He is risen indeed. Hallelujah. But for some, it wasn't a joyful hallelujah. Jesus' disciples had seen this Jesus, the promised Messiah, who was going to change their world and their lives, suddenly killed, died on a cross, buried in a tomb. And they had heard rumors that he'd risen from the dead, but they doubted those words from the women. They doubted that this could happen. And those doubts turned to fear. They locked themselves into a room. They doubted Jesus' words. They doubted their future. They doubted their very lives. Jesus came and met them in the midst of where they were, behind those locked doors. How many of you have at times locked yourselves behind doors, figuratively or really? Jesus met them and said, "Peace be with you." In fact, he has no intentions of letting us live in doubts and fears. In the Bible, one of the most beautiful and encouraging commands is, "Do not be afraid," mentioned 149 times. "Have no fear," 225 times. And "fear not," 454 times. Jesus met them in their fears, in their doubts, bringing them back into a relationship of peace and love. That's how God intends us to live. But one of them wasn't there, Thomas. He doubted. He says, "I will not believe." We're going to talk this weekend on how Jesus met Thomas where he was, how he helped him get over his doubts, pointed him back to Christ. We'll see you this weekend.